Gertie Spurling here with 7 Adelaide's afternoon news. Making news this hour, a wild knife fight sparks panic in Rundle Mall. See the shocking video. Chaos and destruction, power lines brought down as a B-double ploughs into a Stobie pole. Health alert, the store-bought stimulant that's left an Adelaide man with severe lead poisoning. Tomorrow's Christmas pageant scorcher break records, the latest advice. And Zara's new look, the Burnside store's high-tech shopping experience.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News starts now.
Good afternoon. A 17-year-old boy is face caught and 2 others have been arrested over a terrifying gang fight in Rundle Mall. CCTV shows teenagers running around with knives just as staff and shoppers were making their way home. Here's Lauren Rose.
A 14-year-old boy was the youngest of the 3 teenagers arrested, and police say he was the one with the machete.
Security video shows 2 teens from rival gangs in hoodies swing knives at each other in front of stunned onlookers. 4 others are involved in the affray at 6 o'clock last night before they scatter in different directions. A 14, 15 and 17-year-old were arrested on Flinders Street, while the remaining suspects are still on the run. The fight is being investigated by detectives from Operation Meld, a task force set up to combat feuding youth gangs.
The 17-year-old youth has a strong affiliation with a known street youth gang, and the other 2 youth are considered associates of that gang.
The alleged associates were granted police bail, while the eldest accused spent the night in custody. Today, the youth court heard he already has serious matters pending, including firearms offences, and his electronic monitoring device placed him in the mall at the time of the fight.
The magistrate said he was willing to give the 17-year-old one more chance on home detention bail.
Police have seized more than $1 million worth of illicit tobacco being smuggled into SA in light trucks. 3 interstate men have been charged after the discovery of loose tobacco and cigarettes in trucks at Tailem Bend, near Murray Bridge and Port Augusta. One of the trucks had what police describe as a pop-up shop.
That truck had in it tobacco signage, shop fittings, price lists or displays, and tobacco products valued at about $150,000.
There have now been 15 arrests linked to the state's tobacco wars. We'll have more on this story in our main bulletin at 6. Police have tracked down a truckie accused of a hit-run crash in Adelaide's north, causing traffic chaos and blackouts. As Peter Caldecott reports, repair crews are still working to try and fix the damage caused by a fallen Stobie pole.
CCTV recorded at 1:18 this morning shows a B-double heading west along Grand Junction Road. Seconds after it disappears out of shot, sparks fly as it slams into a Stobie pole, causing a sudden blackout.
It was a massive bang, and then my window was open. I saw flashes. I thought it was thunder, but then the power went out. So I went outside to check, and then there's just a Stobie pole on the road, laying down.
The truck driver continued on, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Power lines down and a substation destroyed, cutting power to around 500 homes and businesses. Grand Junction Road was blocked in both directions between Main North Road and Prospect Road. Some businesses had to turn away customers.
All systems down, computers, phones, all the workshop facilities as far as compressors and tools and equipment's all out of action.
A crane was called in to straighten and remove the bent Stobie, while multiple SA Power Network crews are working to repair damaged wires and connectors. It could take until late tonight to restore power to the area, meaning long delays again for peak hour commuters.
I'm late for work now. It's not very good.
Yeah, maybe another 10-20 minutes, who knows. Terrible. Yeah, terrible. So,
what, are you late for work or what's happening?
About half an hour.
A 34-year-old man from Mawson Lakes has been reported for leaving the scene of an accident, driving without due care and acts likely to cause harm. He'll front court at a later date. The financial loss to local businesses could run into hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The embattled Western Hospital has a new owner securing its long-term future. A company owned by the Medibank Group has teamed up with a consortium of doctors to buy the much-loved community hospital for an undisclosed sum.
Over the next 3 years, 4,000 elective surgery procedures will occur here at Western Hospital, which is great news for patients in the western suburbs.
Taxpayers will contribute $3 million. The new entity will be known as the Western Adelaide Private Hospital. The future of the oncology department is still up in the air. A man's been hospitalised with severe lead poisoning after consuming an illegal stimulant imported from overseas and often used to treat erectile dysfunction. Commonly known as kamini, the small brown pellets are sold in some Indian grocery stores and online and pose a serious risk.
These tablets do tend to contain opioids, so they're a significant health risk because they not only contain toxic heavy metals, but if they do contain opioids, they can become addictive.
Symptoms of acute lead poisoning include unexplained stomach pain, nausea and seizures. A masked robber armed with a knife has threatened staff at a Gillis Plains service station. Police were called to North East Road just before 10 last night. The man was given a bundle of cash before he ran off towards the shopping centre. Patrols searched the area but failed to find him. Police say he was wearing a black surgical mask, black shirt, black pants and black sneakers. Spain's worst flood in a generation has claimed the lives of 158 people as the search for victims continues. More than a year's worth of rain fell in just 8 hours in Valencia, displacing thousands. Ben Downey is there.
It's difficult to put the devastation into words. This snapshot here, though, might illustrate just a fraction of it. Have a look at this. Cars thrust together. Scenes like this really all across Valencia and southeastern Spain. There are tons of steel and concrete and vegetation just squished together. It's not just blocking roads where we are now, it's also blocking entrances to homes, residential blocks. When those floodwaters rose, this is what trapped the people inside their homes. 158 people at least dying due to this disaster, 40 of them at least in Paiport, the town we are now, including a family of 8 that was trapped inside a garage as the floodwaters rose. Fueled by nearly 500 millimetres of rainfall falling in just under 8 hours, caused by what's called a cold drop, where polar winds collide with clouds, dropping all of the moisture that's hanging above Spain on top of the region. Really something it wasn't able to prepare for. That's why helicopter crews have had to pluck people from those floodwaters, and when they survive, well, very often they don't have much of a home to return to. It's either been devastated by floodwaters, sometimes they can't even enter because of all this debris, and even if they can find their way inside, well, they also have to battle a supply shortage. Finding food, fresh and clean water as well is also a real battle for people as the humanitarian crisis takes over from the natural disaster. We're about to enter the second day of national mourning of 3 here in Spain as people just try and put one foot in front of the other.
One Nation leader, Pauline Hanson, has been found guilty of racially vilifying Greens Senator Mehreen Faruqi. The federal court finding a post on X from 2022 telling Faruqi to return to Pakistan was an angry personal attack that conveyed a strong form of racism. Justice Angus Stewart ordering Hanson delete the post within 7 days and pay Faruqi's legal costs. The two issues of illegal immigration and abortion continue to dominate the US election as the race to the White House enters its final days. The Democrats have seized on comments by Donald Trump that he'll protect women whether they like it or not. Here's Tim Lester.
Good afternoon. Yes, this is the scene in the Phoenix suburb of Glendale as a crowd gathers to see Donald Trump in a forum with ex-Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Hundreds lining up to get into the forum. We've seen some already going in. A sign, if you like, of some of the excitement that the former and potential future president is generating as this campaign comes to an end. Generating excitement and also controversy, particular controversy with comments he made at a rally yesterday when he spoke about his belief that he would be a protector of women. Take a listen.
I want to protect the women of our country. Well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
It actually is, I think, very offensive to women in terms of not understanding their agency, their authority, their right and their ability to make decisions about their own lives including their own bodies.
Opinion polls already making clear this election is clearly split along gender lines, women tending to support Kamala Harris and overwhelmingly men tending to support Donald Trump. Mr. Trump himself today campaigning first in a state that's not among those 7 battleground states where most of this election has been fought, going to New Mexico to express his support for Hispanic voters there before coming here to Phoenix. Kamala Harris has already been in Phoenix, both of them then moving from here to the other western battleground state of Nevada, based largely around Las Vegas, but also one of the rallies tonight in Reno. We then expect the campaigns to concentrate their efforts in the eastern battleground states, with just 4 complete days left to campaign before America has its final voting day of the 2024 election.
The Albanese government is accusing the opposition leader of lying about his free use of Gina Rinehart's private jet. Mud continues to be thrown over the travel perks saga. Josh Martin reports.
Good afternoon. After the PM comped heat over allegations he solicited flight upgrades from former Qantas boss Alan Joyce, which he now denies, the script has been flipped somewhat, with Peter Dutton's affairs now in question. On Tuesday, he said he hadn't personally asked Australia's richest person to use her private plane, but yesterday, the opposition leader admitted his office had requested mining magnate Gina Rinehart's jet for him to use for free, to fly return from regional Queensland to Sydney for a Bali bombing memorial in 2022. Labor now asking what Miss Rinehart expects in return.
So the bloke who's been attacking the Prime Minister uphill and down dale all week about this is guilty of the thing that he wrongly accused the Prime Minister of. He needs to answer the question, why did he lie?
You don't need to go into bat for Upgrade Albo and his dodgy deals. He wouldn't do the same for you. I think it's pretty disappointing, Nat, that Labor is going after Peter Dutton because of a flight to the Bali bombing memorial.
Shadow Transport Minister Bridget McKenzie also looking down the barrel, yet to update her register of interests. The National Senator unsure if she's declared all flight upgrades, now checking records with airlines. Politicians are meant to disclose perks within 28 days.
She sort of came out all guns blazing but managed to shoot her foot off.
For transparency and accountability, I have to obviously update public declarations as quickly as possible. Parliament is back Monday. You can expect a lot of fireworks in question time.
Next, we take you inside Adelaide's new Zara store, offering a high-tech way to shop. Also ahead, a probe into the death of 2 Aussie police dogs. Same job, same pay. The new laws that come into play from today, what it could mean for your pay packet. The airport runway made of cashew shells, and twice bitten and definitely not shy. The shark survivor who keeps going back for more. You're watching 7's Afternoon News live from Adelaide. It's been a busy afternoon down at the Bay. Plenty of locals soaking up some spring sunshine along Gertie Road. Right now, it's 21 degrees there. Zara Fashion has gone futuristic. The global powerhouse has opened a new look store in Adelaide where shoppers can book a change room using an in-store app. It's also introducing a click and collect feature where parcels are delivered via an elevator.
They've got the new technology where you can just scan everything and do it yourself, so that was really cool.
And did you use the technology?
Yeah.
Can you explain how it sort of
Well, you just put it in the basket and it picks up what you've put in the basket. You don't actually need to scan it properly, it just knows what you've put in.
Analysts say other retailers will soon be forced to follow suit. We'll hear from them in our main bulletin at 6. Police have launched an investigation into how 2 police dogs died while they were being kept inside a police vehicle in Sydney yesterday. Police dog Extra and development dog Soldier were found dead by their handler. They were being kept inside air-conditioned pods in the specially built police vehicle.
Unfortunately, there is an alarm that went off and it did go off at a time, but unfortunately when the police went down there, it was too late.
The police vehicle was towed away and will be examined as part of the investigation. Pay rises worth thousands of dollars a year are flowing through to workers under so-called same job, same pay legislation. Flight attendants are among the big winners. Blake Johnson explains.
Some long-haul flight attendants with Qantas just scored a 28% pay rise under this legislation that targets companies using labour hire firms. Those firms sometimes provide a backdoor way to pay staff less, despite doing the same work as employees of the parent company.
For too long, we've seen big companies in Australia employ permanent employees at one pay rate and then top up their workforce by bringing in labour hire employees on much lower rates and conditions.
The same job, same pay laws affect around 800 Qantas cabin crew, 320 workers at a mine in Queensland who will receive up to 20 grand a year more, and staff at a Queensland meatworks who can expect pay rises of up to 25%.
Qantas has not employed a long-haul flight attendant since before 2007. So it's incredible that we've been able to sit down and negotiate a fair outcome where the use of labour hire is going to be a thing of the past.
Industry groups warn of the increased cost and claim it removes discretion around hiring employees at different stages of their career.
Well, this is just another step that's going to make it harder for employers to engage Australians. It takes no account of a person's background, their responsibility, their experience.
The federal opposition says it will repeal the same job, same pay laws if it's elected next year. But for now, more than 40 same job, same pay applications are being heard in the Fair Work Commission.
At a joint meeting in South Korea, the American Secretary of State revealed that 10,000 soldiers from North Korea are expected to be thrown into the fight against Ukrainian troops in the Kursk region.
Should these troops engage in combat or combat support operations against Ukraine, they would become legitimate military targets. Now, one of the reasons that Russia is turning to these North Korean troops is that it's desperate. Putin has been throwing more and more Russians into a meat grinder of his own making in Ukraine. Now he's turning to North Korean troops, and that is a clear sign of weakness.
The US Defence Secretary stressed he believed Ukraine would continue to hold its territory. A gas explosion in southern Russia has killed 5 people and injured 4 others. The blast severely damaged the 2 upper floors of a 5-storey building, forcing residents to flee. Russian authorities have launched a criminal investigation into the blast, suspecting safety violations. In a bid to meet its climate targets, Germany's largest passenger airport is testing sustainable runways. Frankfurt Airport using asphalt concrete derived from cashew shells. The organic bitumen is created by mixing hydrocarbon resin with organic extract from cashew shells. It's 10 times more durable than conventional bitumen and, if successful, could be expanded to other runways. A couple of Coldplay diehards have had a life-changing night at Marvel Stadium. Lead singer Chris Martin called them on stage to hear Everglow, the song used in their marriage proposal.
I've been singing this song for Tanya and for Fagundo. Away waters flow, life is short as the falling of snow.
The lucky couple telling 7 News it was a night they'll never forget. Chris Martin, what a smooth operator he is.
Oh, what would you do? You wouldn't know where to look. Where to hold your hands, Chris Martin doing his thing, you'd just be absolutely speechless.
You would be. Speaking of speechless, that opening spot for the Test cricket, it's still open, Hazy.
Yeah, spot on, Gertie. No clear as to who's going to land that. We hoped that Nathan McSweeney would wrap it up today with a big score. He fell short against India A. We'll talk about that later on. Also ahead, Aussie Alex de Minaur breaks a 20-year drought in Australian tennis. All that and plenty more happening a little bit later.
Thank you, Hazy. And next, the shark attack survivor who went back for more only to encounter jaws again. Also ahead, the shocking act that's landed a rideshare driver in trouble. How 950 wheels of cheese went missing. Police make a major breakthrough. And bringing the dead back to life using frozen DNA. It's not as science fiction as you might think. The hottest pageant day in 15 years is set to welcome thousands of families descending on the city tomorrow. Amelia's on South Terrace this afternoon, and Amelia organisers are confident the iconic event will withstand the heat.
Gertie, that's right. Extra water is being provided for those who are in the pageant, but this is something that organisers have seen before in the event's 92-year history. Right now, the costumes and some of the mini floats are on their way to Pulteney Grammar here on South Terrace, ready for tomorrow's pageant, which all kicks off at 9:30. Now, at around that time, it will be about 23 degrees in the city with noticeable northerly winds around, bumping the temperature up to around 30 degrees as Father Christmas gives his Christmas message just before midday. Now, he'll do that in a different spot this year, under the Gawler Place canopy, as the Town Hall undergoes a facelift. The 170 groups, including dancers, choirs and 85 floats, will weave their way down King William Street onto Wakefield, then Pulteney, before looping around North Terrace and into the mall. Now, as well as the heat, dry northerly winds are set to bump up the fire danger right across the state tomorrow. I'll have more on that in the forecast a little later.
Thank you, Amelia. A Carlton fan accused of throwing a bottle at an AFL umpire says there's not enough evidence to prove he did it. Alexander Grutteria fronted court this morning, charged with multiple offences over the incident at Marvel Stadium in August. His lawyer argued identification was an issue because no security footage captured who threw the bottle. He was handed a life ban from all AFL matches. He'll return to court in January. A Melbourne rideshare driver has been arrested this afternoon, accused of a disturbing sex crime. He performed a lewd act while driving 3 female passengers home from a city nightclub. Paul Dowsley reports.
It was lewd and inappropriate. A rideshare operator appearing to violate the trust of 3 young female passengers who he picked up here on King Street over the weekend, and now he is in police custody. For those 3 friends, it had been a fun night celebrating a birthday Saturday night, and they finished at Click Bar on King Street around 7 on Sunday morning. Then they ordered a DD to take them to one of their homes in Mickleham, and during that trip, the front seat passenger and one of the back seat passengers fell asleep. That's when they say the man started touching himself inappropriately. The back seat passenger, who was awake, noticed what was happening and filmed some of it. The front seat passenger later learned what had happened and says she feels violated. She's now reported it to police, who today arrested him.
My friend was trying to wake me up, Christina. She was actually trying to tell me in Samoan to what he was doing, and I was waking up, so I didn't realise what she was kind of saying. It's absolutely disgusting. It's terrible, and yeah, it's horrible.
DD has acted quickly. Firstly, they suspended the driver while they looked into the complaint. Now they have banned him permanently from their platform.
A shark attack victim in Florida is recovering days after being bitten on both feet while surfing. And incredibly, it's not the first time. That same surfer was attacked on the same beach over a decade ago.
What? I knew instantly it was a shark, having known the feeling before.
It happened at Florida's Bathtub Beach. Charter boat captain and former competitive surfer Cole Tashman says he was paddling just past the reef and what he thinks was a 2-metre shark hit him from behind.
He got both my feet. I could see his nose was wider than my feet. And I was like, okay, I'm dead. And it happened so fast, it was in a split second.
Tashman says his friends, fellow surfers, immediately came to his aid, his girlfriend capturing the dramatic moments from the shore. On the beach, his friends used their surf leashes to form a tourniquet and stop the bleeding as they raced to the nearest hospital.
Everyone asked, why didn't you call 911? And it's like, we are 911. I got 93 stitches. I had 2 surgeries to repair my tendons. I'll be in a wheelchair probably about a month.
This incident, Cole says, much more serious than the first time he was bitten.
Comparing a high school athlete to an Olympic athlete is the difference between these 2 bites.
The first time in 2013, when Tashman was just 16.
I was wading into about waist-deep water on the same reef, and I jumped over a wave, and wham! But that one was a little reef pup. The scar's right here.
And even though the chances of ever being attacked by a shark, let alone twice, are extremely low, Tashman says he doesn't feel unlucky.
I feel incredibly blessed and incredibly lucky considering I have all my toes and my Achilles did not get severed.
Zoe Martin, 7 News.
London detectives have made a major breakthrough in the case of the missing cheddar cheese. They've arrested a 63-year-old man on suspicion of fraud and handling stolen goods. High-end cheese specialist Neil's Yard Dairy delivered 950 wheels of cheese to an alleged fraudster posing as a wholesale distributor. The cheese, worth more than $500,000, is believed to have been spirited away to Russia or the Middle East. Next, the Aussie police officers who were given a scare of a different kind on Halloween night. The blockbuster Gladiator sequel, 24 years in the making, we rub shoulders with the new cast. And why these uni students were asked to throw pumpkins from a roof.
Tomorrow on Weekend Sunrise, Smarter Spending. How to compare the price of groceries in your area. Plus, DIY divorce. New online applications costing 1/10 of the price. And human nature dance into the studio. Weekend Sunrise from 7 a.m.
You're watching Seven's afternoon news live from Adelaide. Our cameras were there as Adelaide mum Michelle McCrainer took off from Seacliff ahead of a marathon mission. She's running to Melbourne to raise funds for research into stillbirth. She lost her daughter Celeste in 2001 and she has made it her mission to turn her pain into power. Her goal is 50 Ks a day and we wish her all the very best on her journey. Now let's check in with Rosanna on what's coming up at 6.
Thank you very much, Gertie. Coming up tonight, see the moment. A wild knife fight sparks panic in the CBD. Stunned shoppers watch on as the brawl erupts between teenagers. 3 have been arrested, with police revealing a 14-year-old was found with a machete. Also at 6, there's a new route. It'll be stinking hot, but nothing's going to stop Father Christmas from coming to town. We'll bring you a comprehensive guide for tomorrow's Christmas pageant. Plus, the breakthrough research helping older Australians tackle dementia, the early signs to watch out for, and how to delay, even dodge the disease. Those stories and, of course, so much more tonight at 6, Gertie.
Thank you, Rosanna. In a Halloween tradition, students from Boston University have participated in the annual pumpkin drop. When the drop began, it was actually a physics department assignment. Students were required to calculate the net force of gravity as they threw the pumpkins from the roof. But it's now evolved into a big, messy party. I know which one I'd prefer. To finance now, and joining me is James Tao from ING Bank. James, how did the Australian share market finish the week?
Good afternoon. The Aussie market did finish the week on a slightly sour note. The ASX 200 down about 0.5%, or close to 40 points. Over the course of the week, the benchmark index was down about 1%. In what was a bit of positive news in the afternoon, we did see a bit of a lift in our mining and energy stocks. That helped lift the market off the lows of the morning, but not enough to overcome losses that we saw, particularly in the financial space. We had investment group Macquarie Bank down about 3.5%. It released its first half earnings this morning and it wasn't quite up to the market's expectations. They also lowered their interim dividend payment as well. The Aussie dollar has fared better than the Aussie share market today. It's approaching 65.8 US cents, but still overall down for the week.
Scientists have introduced new technology that could one day save endangered species. Samples of genetic material are taken from at-risk animals as the ultimate insurance policy in case we have to bring the extinct back to life.
It's science out of a Hollywood movie. Conservationists taking a page out of Jurassic Park, where dinosaurs were resurrected. It's the first step towards a global database. Frozen DNA could be the key to bring extinct animals back to life, and London Zoo is already contributing its animal genetic footprints to a Noah's Ark of samples.
It's really cutting edge, looking at storing not the animal but the DNA from that animal in such a way that it can be revived. Try and help those species that really we may have lost. I mean, it would be sad, it would be tragic to get to that point, but if we ever do, we've at least got this sort of stopgap.
More than 500 native Australian animals at risk of extinction could benefit. Whilst this technology won't halt the rate of decline, these cryogenic tanks will store enough genetic material to revive species even if they are down to their last pair.
This could be an absolutely vital lifeline for many of the species that are literally on the brink of extinction. We can freeze tissue down, freeze those species down in time, ready really to be brought back to life at a moment's notice in 10, 20 or 1,000 years' time, effectively still in a living state.
Although the system is still being developed, conservationists are hopeful what was once science fiction could become fact. Talia Tranter, 7 News.
Gladiator 2 is set to hit our screens in mid-November. The film has a star-studded cast, which even includes a monkey. Angelique Opie caught up with some of the big names, including leading man Paul Mescal.
So beautiful destinations, but conditions, what were they like?
Conditions were beautiful for like weekends when you're not rolling around in the sand and sweating copious amounts when you're fighting.
Paul, how was the adrenaline during those fight sequences?
The first couple of fights, the adrenaline is like through the roof. But then there was a period of time when we were in the Coliseum and it was about 3.5 weeks of like back-to-back fighting. So at that point it's hold on for dear life and get your physiotherapy done in the evening and go again the next day.
He would do the entire sequence from beginning to end for all of the takes on us up in the Royal Box. And
because I loved it. Yeah.
It will carry you.
The life-sized monkey, your co-star, what was that like?
She's fantastic. The actress, monkey actress, it's a real monkey, and her name is Sherry. She's playing Dondis in the film. Paul was doing his gladiator training, and I was doing monkey training.
The qualities that Maximus and Lucius share, can you tell me a little bit about them, and how would you describe Lucius's demeanour?
It's really interesting because you obviously, he's got an inbuilt genetic kind of relationship to Maximus, but he's not aware of it. So that was kind of why I avoided kind of overly referencing Maximus, because Lucius isn't aware of who his father is.
Rave reviews, talk of award season, how does that sit with you all?
Relief. You know, I think we were all sort of like aware just how high the bar was. We all came on there willing to like literally like put everything out there for the film.
Gladiator 2 is in cinemas on November 14.
Looking forward to that one. It's not easy to spook a police officer, but these two in Queensland sure had the heebie-jeebies. They'd been searching a car when one of them walked right into a spider's web.
Bro, that is huge. That is probably the biggest spider I've ever seen.
The spider was pretty reluctant to let his new friend go. See, his mate wasn't really jumping in to help him and get that spider off his back, was he?
He wasn't at all. That's good composure, because I feel like that would be appropriate to use your gun, but you can't do that.
No.
You've got to be more composed as a police officer.
I think so. Perhaps go for the taser first.
Yeah, tase the spider.
Hey, SA's cricket captain, he's making his push for a test debut.
Yeah, Nathan McSweeney, he out for 39, so not as many runs as he would have liked, but he's the best of the front runners so far. Coming up, who will open with Uzi is anyone's guess. Well, you can rule out, though, striker Matt Short, who spoke today in Melbourne. And Aussie Alex Diminor continues his rise up the world rankings. Hello again. The Test hopefuls continued their struggles on day 2 of Australia A and India A's clash in Mulcahy. South Australia skipper Nathan McSweeney fell for 39, the top score in Oz A's 195. Rising white ball superstar Matt Short is refreshingly honest about his chances of becoming a Test match opener. None at all.
No, I don't think so. Look, I played probably my better red ball cricket through the middle. It's a completely different sort of setup.
Short will open in Australia's opening one-day against Pakistan at the MCG on Monday. In the WBBL, the Thunder has made a strong start against the Strikers in North Sydney. The Thunder won the toss and chose to bat, finishing at 5 for 212 off 20 overs. The Strikers are coming off an 11-run win over the Sixers. Meanwhile, last night the Thunder have posted their first win of the season, defeating the Hurricanes by 33 runs at North Sydney Oval.
Oh, that is an incredible cotton bowl. What? Molly Strano, are you kidding me?
Set 146, the Canes scored 113. Hannah Darlington, the pick of the Thunder bowlers, claiming 3 for 16. Well, new Magpie Tim Membrey donned his new colours for the first time after crossing over from the Saints on a 2-year deal. Flanked by his family, today the 30-year-old was shown around by a new teammate, Tom Mitchell.
Caught up with a couple of guys in here, and then the following day had a medical, and then I think the end of that day it was all pretty much good to go. So yeah, it happened pretty quickly, and tried my best to keep it as quiet as I could, but yeah, pretty excited.
Membrey kicked 293 goals in 178 games for St Kilda. And one of Membrey's fellow forwards, Bobby Hill, is sporting a new look. The 24-year-old embracing a clean top lip for now, all to raise money for Movember after his own health scare in 2022. Hill admits being a September spectator was a bitter pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was a bit annoying. Obviously, watching Brisbane, win it, and not what we done to them the year before, and we beat them twice. But again, they've congratulate them. They earned it, and 100%. The way they played in that final series against Giants, and then to get into the grand final was full credit to them. And it should be fun to get back into it and go again.
The Pies return for pre-season training on the 11th of November. Port Adelaide AFLW coach Lauren Arnell is adamant her side can still take plenty away from this weekend's game against the battling Giants ahead of the finals. The Power will finish in the top 8, making an appearance at the pointy end of the season for the first time in the club's short history.
I guess the privilege of knowing we've got what looks very, very likely we'll play a final the week after. It's even more incentive, I think, to explore how much better we can get regardless of opponent this week.
That game against the Giants is on Sunday afternoon at Alberton. Well, Chris Waller is preparing for another big weekend at Flemington. The star trainer doesn't have a horse running in the Victoria Derby tomorrow, but his 7-year-old mare, Atishu, is favourite in the Empire Rose Stakes.
Everything looks well for tomorrow. She's drawn a little bit wide, but we've got James McDonald aboard. As I've said, she loves Flemington, she loves Cup Week. And the beauty of racing at Flemington is most horses get their chances.
Waller has 4 runners in the Melbourne Cup, including favourite Buckaroo. Well, pressure is already mounting on Brian Goorjian, coach at Sydney Kings, after Melbourne United defeated the NBL Championship favourites 87-83. Jack White's 2 crucial 3-pointers in the closing minutes lifted Melbourne to victory.
Delvin over, finds White again! Oh, wow! Oh, he brings the crowd to their feet, and he's pumped!
The Kings have now lost 3 on the trot. Well, Alex Diminor will rise to world number 8, all but assuring he'll be the first Australian in 20 years to play the ATP Tour Finals. The Demon avenged his US Open defeat to Jack Draper to reach the Paris Masters quarterfinals. It drove the Brit to racket destruction. Fellow Sydney boy Jordan Thompson joined Diminor in the quarters, defeating Adrian Manarino. That is our look at sport this afternoon. I think we've all been in that situation where you just want to absolutely tee off on your racket. But for those guys, they get new ones for free. We've got to pay for ours.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I've ever had the strength to actually break a racket, though.
Oh, that's probably a good thing. Probably. I can't imagine you as well, Gertie,
Certainly.
going to absolute town on your racket.
I don't know. Maybe just checking with my husband. He might have something to say about my temper.
Right, we'll catch up, Bill.
Thanks, Hazy. It's going to be a hot one. Amelia has tomorrow's all-important Christmas pageant forecast after the break. Stay with us.
7 News, why these seniors are getting right out of their comfort zone.
Doing things they've never done before.
And it's all part of breakthrough research.
We're examining horse blood.
Tackling the disease that's set to double.
It's never too early to start thinking about risk factors.
Advice to improve your outlook on 7 News at 6.
Good afternoon, Dorian Tassado from the Snapprint Solutions Traffic Centre. In Blair Ethel, got a road closure in place on Grand Junction Road. It's between Main North Road and Churchill Road following a truck that hit a Stobie pole. Got detours in place. You can use Cabin Road to get around that one. Snapprint Solutions, helping businesses stand out with high quality printing solutions for 125 years. Find your print solution today at snap.com.au. That's the latest Adelaide traffic. Have a wonderful weekend for the Christmas pageant. Back to you, Gertie.
Thank you, Dorian. Let's get a check of the weather now. And Amelia joins us again from the city ahead of a very big day there tomorrow.
Gertie, that's right. We are getting ready for the pageant here at Pulteney Grammar on South Terrace. It's set to be a hive of activity over the next 24 hours, of course, as pageant fever takes over here. Now, one more sleep until the big day. It all kicks off at 9:30 tomorrow. And it's set to be quite a warm day for it as well. Quite the jump from today's conditions in the city today. We hit a top of 23.7 degrees a short time ago after a fresh start. Our low was 9.1 at around 5 o'clock this morning. Right now, it's around that 23-degree mark, but elsewhere, cooler down the east coast. 16 degrees at the moment in Melbourne, 20 in Sydney, 21 in Brisbane, which has had a few millimetres in the gauge as thunderstorms fire up there about southeast Queensland this afternoon, with a trough stretching over the region. In SA, we've got a high that's keeping skies clear, and as it continues heading east, it'll begin to send warm winds off the land our way. Expect those northerlies to strengthen ahead of a front that'll deliver a cool change overnight into Sunday. For now, a hot one across the state tomorrow, with dry northerlies becoming gusty, especially in our west ahead of the change. Up to 41 in Oodnadatta and Coober Pedy, 37 the top for Moomba, Woomera, Port Augusta and Port Lincoln. A windy 37 on the way for Whyalla too. Up to 32 in Clare, 34 the top for Kadina, 33 in Nuriutpa, 36 the top for Murray Bridge, up to 31 in Victor Harbour. With cloud building throughout the day ahead of that change, we could see the odd shower at night, and if we do, it'll probably be about western and southern coasts. So maybe a couple of late showers in Mount Gambier, up to 28 degrees there. Now, extreme fire danger has been declared in 9 of the 15 districts across SA tomorrow, and strong winds are forecast across several coastal regions as well. In the city, down to 12 degrees overnight, then are mostly sunny days in store. 35 is the forecast top. So if you are heading to the pageant in the morning, the message is, of course, slip, slop, slap, pack that extra water because a warm one is on the way, Gertie.
Thank you, Amelia. I just got to track down the kids' hats as well. That's all from 7 Adelaide's afternoon news team. Will and Rosanna will have our next bulletin at 6 o'clock. Bye for now.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app.